Recording in progress.
Okay, well, it's 7 o'clock. We'll get started. Welcome to the March 18th Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. Our chairman is out sick, so I'll open the meeting and take roll, and then we can elect a chairman pro tem. Okay, so here's the roll call. Member Berry. Present. Member Danley.
Here.
Member Fisher.
Here.
Member Miller.
Here.
Member Russell.
Here.
And Member Toll.
Here.
And Chair Peters is the only one who's absent. So by tradition, usually the longest serving member, which would be Member Miller, is volunteers for Chairman Pro Tem. And we need a motion and a second and a vote. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
We'll give that to Aaron. And would someone like to second? Okay, Member Berry seconds, and I will take a roll call on the vote. Member Toll.
Aye.
Member Russell.
Aye.
Member Miller.
Aye.
Member Fisher.
Aye.
Member Danley.
Aye.
And Member Berry.
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous. You're the chairman.
Move seats.
Yeah, you can move to center.
Before we proceed with the meeting, the Joint Plan Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals allocates 15 minutes for those individuals who have anything to discuss that has nothing to do with tonight's agenda. Each person addressing the Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Anybody in the audience?
And if anyone on Zoom wants to speak, hit the button to raise your hand, and then we'll recognize you. There's no one on Zoom who wants to speak.
I never got to do the gavel.
That's okay. Yeah, no gavel. Okay, so, someone does want to speak. We will allow this person to speak to us. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Geeta Griffiths, and I am a resident of Lake Forest attending this meeting. Is it appropriate now to ask a question on an agenda item or only items that are not on the agenda?
Only items that are not on the agenda.
Understood. I will not speak then. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, no one else. Is there?
Okay, consideration of the February 18th, 2026 meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions, discussions, deletions, additions?
I have a very minor one. On item 11, the commissioner's report, it says where Member Barry asked about the order in which the commissioner's report is brought up. I didn't order about that. I just asked about the order in which we vote on different items.
Voting.
Oh, okay. We can correct that.
But I already noticed that you were changing it up, so that's great. Appreciate that.
Sure, no problem.
And just above that, on the same page 5, we're missing a member name. It says member blank made a motion under item 9.
Oh, okay.
So
I will have to
we'll
check the
resurrect
record
that.
on
And
that.
then in the very last sentence on that page, I'd like to have the sentence changed. It says that member Russell asked if the new ownership is following the comp plan R5 recommendations, and more or less what I asked, member Russell asked if the new ownership group was in any way behind the scenes driving any of the work we're giving to TESCA to possibly redevelop all of the regulations for R5. Village Administrator Irvin responded they were not. And I've got typed out for you, Mike.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. That's helpful. So, do you want to ask if someone would like to make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected?
So moved.
Okay.
Second?
And do you want to call for the vote?
Yes. We did.
You just asked me to do the vote, and I'll
Yeah, do the vote.
do it. Okay. Okay, Member Berry.
Yes.
Member Danley.
Aye.
Member Fisher.
Aye.
Member Russell?
Aye.
Member Toll?
I was absent, so I'll abstain.
Okay. And Member Miller? Okay, so would you like to?
Okay. We're up to item number 4, workshop to discuss the proposed helicopter landing pad at 927 North Shore Drive. Ziegler Auto Group is requesting a workshop discussion to see if the village has any major or minor objections before they go forward with their coming to the zoning board for a text amendment.
And I'll do a brief introduction on this item. As Chair Miller mentioned, it is a workshop discussion, meaning it's pre-application. We don't have any application. We won't be voting on anything tonight, but we'll be giving feedback to them on their proposal, which is the purpose, for them to get feedback before they apply. And the proposal is to do a helicopter landing pad. One potential site is 927 North Shore Drive, which is the building east of the Racket Club at the back of the building. And, if they actually apply for this, it would require a text amendment to make it a use on the use table, which would probably be a special use that would require a special use permit, and possibly also an amendment to make an exemption to our noise ordinance. At the place for each of the PCZBA members tonight, I have a packet of letters and emails that we've received in the last couple of days. We have 10 letters or emails in opposition to it. And with that, we'll turn it over to the applicant for your presentation.
Good evening. Thank you for having us this evening. My name is James Ferrolo with the law firm of Kleinthorpe & Jenkins. I'm here on behalf of the Ziegler Auto Group. I'm here with Ryan Snowy Inc., who is the Ziegler's Director of Aviation, and Nick Mancuso, General Manager of the Ferrari dealership here in Lake Bluff. We're here tonight, as you've heard, to present the concept of establishing a private helicopter landing area behind the Ferrari dealership's warehouse at 927 North Shore Drive. That is the preferred site. We are here to talk briefly about another alternative site as well. The use would solely be for the ownership team of Ziegler to travel to the dealership, given the multiple locations, 41 locations that they have throughout Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. The property is in an L1 district. It's your light industry district. We do agree with staff that the formal zoning application would require, we would pursue a text amendment. Staff is proposing that it come forward as a special use. With a special use, as you know, comes the ability for the municipality to place conditions on the use, which can be very protective of the use and how it's conducted. And the conditions are designed to mitigate the impacts, if any, on neighboring property owners. I know you're familiar with special use and do them all the time. If conditions are violated, the municipality can initiate a process to either suspend or to revoke a special use. So there is a real strong control mechanism with a special use if this were to go forward as that. Ziegler, as you'll hear from Ryan, is proposing to heavily restrict the use of the helipad in several ways, and Ryan will get into the details. One of the main ways is to limit the activity. They're talking about 1 to 2 landings and takeoffs per month. And you'll hear from Ryan that a landing and a takeoff are both under a minute in time frame. So this really is a very, very limited use, a very limited process. And Ryan will talk about some of the other conditions that you could consider putting into a special use ordinance when we move to that step. Before meeting with the staff in late November, Ryan and I met with staff. Ryan met with the Illinois Department of Transportation, Division of Aeronautics, to review this site. Roger Fennell of that department, the flight safety coordinator, came out to the 927 site, reviewed the site, and prepared a site plan, which you have in your packet, with 5 very easy conditions to meet to render the site ready for a limited helipad use and compliant with the Illinois aviation safety rules for for that type of a facility. Just for information purposes, Mr. Fennell is the same individual from the Illinois Department of Transportation who reviewed the AbbVie helicopter site back in 2020. So he is the person that's in charge of this for IDOT and did come out to this site. We really wanted to come to the staff with something that they could take a look at, and so that they would know that the site is compliant with some very limited conditions. I'm going to turn it over to Ryan for a description of the operations. He's going to get into the details of the operations. He has some videos he's going to show you of takeoffs and landings of this specific helicopter, and he's going to start with a video of the president of Ziegler Auto Group, Aaron Ziegler, that we'd like to show you. Mr. Ziegler could not be here this evening. He's out of state, but he did make a statement for you. And Ryan will start with that and then get into the operations. After that, Nick Mancuso will speak, and we are all available for questions once we're done. Thank you.
Evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Snowick. As Jim let you know, I'm the Director of Aviation for the Ziegler Automotive Group. And you know what, before I get going here, Mike, if you'd play that video from Aaron, that would be great.
Sure. Here we go. Oh, let's see. It is not giving us the audio, I think. I paused it for a second. Figure out the whole audio thing. Well, I think I will plug the computer in directly, and that'll solve the problem.
Star Trek days.
Hello, Lake Bluff community. My name is Aaron Ziegler. I'm president of the Ziegler Auto Group, and last year we acquired the Ferrari dealership in Lake Bluff, and I'm really excited to be part of the community. I wanted to thank you for trying to help come up with a solution to a business issue that we have. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself and our organization. So we're a family-run business. My dad started the company 51 years ago, and we've grown now. We have 41 locations, and we're in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. In order for me to be able to get to the different dealerships and the meetings that I have, I typically travel by helicopter. And we bought a new helicopter 2 years ago. It's a Bell 429. It's got all the latest safety features. It's got twin engines on it. And the reason why we bought the Bell 429 is it's really easy to land at our dealership lots. So right now, out of the 41 locations we have, I can land at 40 of the 41 locations. The one location I can't land at, obviously, is Ferrari in Lake Bluff because of the restrictions. We've been landing close to the dealership over the last year, about a mile away from the dealership. It's worked out great. We would have continued to do that, but that property is going to get sold, so that's not going to be available to us going forward. So we're trying to figure out where's the best way to be able to land the helicopter. Unfortunately, the airport is too far away and there's too much traffic going both ways. Now, when we land the helicopter, I know there's been some concerns in the community out there. We certainly want to be a good partner with our neighbors. We want to be a good partner with the community going forward, and we'd love to come out with a solution that would work for everybody. So we've certainly got flexibility out there, but I also wanted to be able to dispel some of the fears. I know sometimes people kind of get riled up about things that they maybe make a mountain out of a molehill. So a couple things I wanted to kind of clarify. So on average, I'm at the dealership once a month by helicopter. At the absolute most, it would be twice a month. Quite often, there's where I'm not there at all throughout the month. So we're certainly willing to put some restrictions on this. We could say, hey, we can't land there more than twice a month, for example. We're also willing to put in time restrictions, like you can only do it between the hours of 9 and 5. So no early mornings, no late nights. My meetings there are with the manufacturers. So I wish I could be there in person today. Unfortunately, I'm out of state and couldn't be there. but certainly wanted you to hear directly from me that we want to be a great neighbor. We'd love to come up with a long-term solution. We're open to ideas with Lake Bluff and look forward to some feedback with you. And we're certainly hopeful that we can work out a great solution for Lake Bluff and a great solution for the Ferrari dealership and myself, and we can continue along in great relationship moving forward. So I thank you so much for hearing us out. I thank you for your time. I thank you for listening to us and trying to work on a solution. So thank you so much, Lake Bluff community. Greatly appreciate your time.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. And then there should be a PowerPoint.
Yep.
Nobody wants to look at me. So. Least of all me. All right, so I want to take you guys through some of the technical side. I'm not a zoning expert or anything. That's what Jim is for. But just kind of to reiterate what Aaron said there. So we're with the Ziegler Automotive Group. We have 41 different locations here in the 4 states. And we're really, really excited to have acquired Ferrari Lake Forest in 2025. Kind of the crown jewel of our group right now. With those 41 locations, we are able to land at all of them but where we're at. What we do normally, we move, basically we make a circle of cars in the parking lot, and we come in and we land, and our executives can do their meetings, and then we hop to the next one, we hop to the next one, we hop to the next one. The nickname of the helicopter is the time machine. Our executives like to get in front of the employees. They love to have that connection. And being such a large organization, it is impossible to do via car. So that's why we have the helicopter, and it's worked incredibly well for us. I was a skeptic before we got it, but I've been blown away, right? So that's where our need comes from, or our desire comes from with this. And we do it all over. We do it, we have different locations in Indiana where we do it quite regularly, up here in Chicago, and then up near Milwaukee as well. So this is just kind of a normal week for us, sort of thing, hitting 1 or 2 or 3 different dealerships. So with that, I want to describe the helicopter a little bit, because should this be approved, this would be the only helicopter coming in. It's a Bell Textron 429. It is a light twin helicopter is what it's called. It has a max weight of 7,000 pounds, has twin engines. It is what we call Category A certified. What that means is this twin engine aircraft can take off vertically. Normally helicopters aren't able to do that. They take off a little vertically, then they have to kind of get a running start, if you will, to get airflow moving over the blades, even more than just the blades turning. With this twin engine, we're able to go straight up. So we're able to really limit where our rotor wash is. We're able to be at a very safe height, flying over different locations by the time we're up high enough to depart the area. We also operate it with experienced professional pilots. They have more time in aircraft than I do, by far. And they're all professionally trained. Along with that, we only fly on nice days. Helicopter does not like bad weather, so that could limit us even more here. But this video here, and Mike, if you'd play it, it is us landing near grass, and I wanted to include this just to show you guys what the rotor wash does. So you'll see the trees move here slightly, but you'll notice only the tops of the trees move. The bottoms of the trees stay still, and that aircraft is probably about 85 feet in the air, which is lower than we'd be over any buildings around the area. We would only be that low when we're coming into our actual location there at 927 North Shore. You can see the guy standing there. He's not getting blown around. Obviously, the grass is a little bit, but really minimal rotor wash as you come down in. So it's not like we're tipping over cars or anything like that you see in the movies. This is a small helicopter with a very small footprint. It's only 35 feet in diameter, so it can fit into some tight places. Mike, if you'd go to the next one, it's a departure. I want to just show you. So there's the same helicopter coming out of the same location. You'll see a little bit of dirt blowing around. However, there are porta potties behind there and other people, and they're not disturbed whatsoever. We go straight up. And because we have no obstacles on this, one of our crew decides to go forward. In our location in Lake Bluff, we would climb quite a bit higher, probably about 150 or 200 feet before we'd actually start moving. So, yeah, that's all I have with that video there.
Could you
If
play that takeoff sequence again?
Yeah,
Sure. Oh, wait, this one?
There you go.
Yep.
pretty quick. So Jim was talking about our time on the ground. I timed it last week at one of our different locations, and we were on the ground for 36 seconds. So we were in and right back out in 36 seconds. What we normally do, we come in and we call it hot loading or hot unloading. We don't shut the helicopter off. Our passengers are fully briefed and trained on how to open the door. They open the door themselves, they hop out, they walk away, and up goes the helicopter. So it really limits the time, it limits the noise, and it works incredibly well for us. So here is our initial proposal, or the proposal that I had for the Illinois Department of Transportation behind 927 North Shore. You can see 927 North Shore is that building on the top there with the white roof. That is currently leased by us, and we use it for storage of vehicles, right, Nick? It's mostly overflow storage for extra vehicles from the dealership. So I had Mr. Fennell from IDOT out to initiate this process and see if anything was even possible with this site. Now, IDOT has really strict requirements for their, what they call restricted landing areas. So a private landing area where only we would have permission as, you know, the owner of the landing area. So they require 2 ingress and egress routes. You can see there. They have to be at least 90 degrees apart, ideally as close to 180 degrees as possible, and we got really, really close with these. What these ingress and egress routes do is guarantee an obstacle-free path for approach. So one of them has to be an 8-to-1 slope, the other has to be a 5-to-1 slope per Illinois code. So what that does is it protects for all types of helicopters. Old helicopters that don't have high performance, big heavy helicopters that can't climb well. The 8-to-1 and the 5-to-1, we are never even close to being that low with our helicopter. We are pretty much 1-to-1 going straight up, right? But the Illinois DOT has to have that in there because they don't regulate what helicopters come in and out. So they have these minimum standards. And these are the strictest minimum standards I have seen out of the 4 states we've done this in, by far. FAA minimum standards, you only need 1 ingress and egress route, and it's just a suggestion. So this is really, we really had to work hard to make this one work. And we were able to find this location here, and it works perfectly for us. We're able to get that 8-to-1 and that 5-to-1 within that location. What also here to understand is, so the square in the middle, that's your aiming area, they call it technically. However, that doesn't mean you have to land there. That's just for the certification. So we could come in, and of course you're shooting an approach, aiming into that direction. However, and Mr. Fennell from IDOT even recommended it, he said, I wouldn't even park on the grass, I would just park in the corner of that parking lot there. So we're farther away from the racket club there with any concerns of being too close to that. We're pretty much right in the center of that backyard where there is the smallest amount or smallest chance of any rotor wash impacting any of the other areas. So this is drawn up for the certification. However, we can, once we approach and we land, we can actually land right in that parking lot. And that is what, ideally we would do. That just makes it simpler and safer for everybody. So going back to this, I'm sure there will be some concerns of, ooh, somebody's overflying my building. What if they have an engine failure? That's always the question with helicopters, right? Is what if there's an engine failure? You can't glide in a helicopter. Well, that's why we have 2 engines. And because this is a Category A helicopter, the highest performance rating we have, if we have an engine failure, the other engine is only ever running at 50%. So you can pull up and fly away just like you were on 2. So the concern about, settling down or anything like that is mute, because that's just not the aircraft that we're operating in and out of here. So it's in and out and very quickly, and that is our main idea here. And of course, open to suggestions from everybody. But this is the place that seems to work best with this IDOT approval, which is not an easy thing to get with different obstacles and trees and buildings and things. So if you'll go to the next slide, Mike, that would be great. So looking at trying to be the best neighbors possible here, we don't like to fly over residential areas. We like to keep it as quiet as we possibly can. So kind of planning out a flight path, just looking on the overhead here, the proposed inbound flight path would be from the north, kind of over the industrial corridor there, over the car dealerships to the north, and then into the building. So we wouldn't be coming over top of any of the Lake Forest homes on the left side or the Lake Bluff homes on the right side, the east side there. We like to fly quiet, we like to fly neighborly, so that would be the intention, is to stay over busy roads where the noise is already there, and the idea is to not even know we were there because it all blends in. So, Mike, if you'll go to the next one. This is just an excerpt, and it should be in your packets, I think, if Mike sent those out. This is the conditional approval, or the no objection to the proposal that the IDOT has given us, with the couple of things we need to knock out. There's a utility pole on our leased property that would have to be removed. It's not an active utility pole. It's just there from a former use. Obviously, no vehicles parked in the area. We would have to do some markings. These markings are minimal. All they are white corners and an H in the middle. And we can get really creative with how we do that. The IDOT has no real requirements other than that it is marked. But that is the no objection. That is as close as you get to an approval. They just say no objections. And obviously at the end of that email, they say you need approval from the local zoning board. So here we are, working on that and workshopping this a little bit. But Mike, if you go to the next slide, because we know that there has been, some talk about being frustrated or what have you with different locations, we've tried to look at different locations around the area. So we've also looked into right in the middle of our N-shaped dealership, if you will. That way, we don't have to affect any neighbors, and we can come right down in and be right back out. This is going to be a stretch to get IDOT approval. I have not had Mr. Fennell up to look at this spot specifically yet. He has indicated he can come up at any time to look at that. But we're trying to get, I don't want to say creative, but we're open to options. Just trying to see what we can accomplish here where it works for everybody. So that's another option we could look into. It'll take a little more legwork, but happy to do that. Mike, if you go to the next one again. So as Aaron said on the video, and Jim mentioned as well, we're very happy to heavily restrict this. We have no intentions of this being an in and out every day or in and out every week even. happy to restrict it. An initial idea is 2 days of operations per month. And when I say 2 days of operations, I mean, so the helicopter will come in and drop our executives off and then go to an airport and wait, or go somewhere else and wait, and then come back in. So it would be 2 separate events during that day, but we'd keep it just in that day. So 2 days of that. Happy to do Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m., and obviously only our aircraft. This is not a bringing clients in or flying clients out or anything like that. This is purely a business use of this, and it's very minimal. So let's say it takes 60 seconds each operation, so it's 4 minutes a month, possibly, maximum, with most months probably being 2 minutes or none. So happy to discuss those, obviously, as well, and see what we can work with that. But that's about all I have. Nick, if you want to.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, absolutely.
How come you do, for one visit, assuming the executives will spend, a couple hours there?
Yeah.
How come you fly in and out 2 times? Why not just come in, park it, turn it down, and then take off when they're done?
We've definitely done that. And sometimes would prefer to do that. A lot of times we need to go get fuel. Because we're coming from Michigan.
Yep.
A lot of times we have to get fuel. But when we do that, the aircraft needs about 2 minutes to warm up, if you will. So it's a stabilization period for the engines. So it's a longer noise event if you do that, basically. But could be agreeable to that as well. We're up for different options here.
Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions for now? Nick?
Thanks, Ryan. So Nick Mancuso, general manager of the dealership. I'm not an expert in helicopters or the zoning or the laws or almost anything that has to pertain with this. I just wanted to get up and just say basically that, we've been at that location since maybe 2004. I grew up in Lake Forest, but I almost consider myself honorary Lake Bluff because my best friend Max lived on about 100 yards that way on the other side of the fire station. So spent a bunch of time here. And even though Aaron bought the dealership, right, it's still, we're the face of it and will continue to be for a long time, right? So this, I can completely understand some of the objections I've seen, or people have texted me or reached out, and most people that have texted me or asked about it have concerns that would be valid if they kind of understood it properly, right? So meaning, if this was commercial, or this was going to be a daily thing, or we were going to be constantly shuttling people from downtown Chicago to the dealership, and there's going to be 3, 4 helicopters coming and going every day, I completely get that. That's not a thing around here. That would be annoying. I would completely understand all that. And the reason that they're coming out and those restrictions to me are quite heavy, and that's the starting point, right, is because that's the literal use case of it. And it can sound like a little ridiculous, right? Oh my God, well, the airport's only 25 minutes away, or this is only 30 minutes away. And I get that, but that only, I just drove from Kalamazoo this morning, right? I was there for a meeting. It took us 3.5 hours, right? Maybe longer, right? You hit traffic, you have to go to the city. So I know it can sound a little absurd, but the drive just to Waukegan Airport or Chicago Executive or wherever else, that's about Aaron's flight time from Kalamazoo and the headquarters to our dealership. And then it's pop in, and it might be Ferrari. There might be people that have flown from Italy, right, or New Jersey, and having Aaron there and that FaceTime and having those meetings is actually pretty important, right? So, and then you might have a meeting with Mercedes later that day, and hop on Mercedes and go here and here and here. So it's not often that it happens. Like you said, he's been flying in already and landing, and you don't even notice because it's actually not loud. I've been by the chopper taking off, landing. Just as I was walking in here, there was a really loud propeller plane that flew over, right? So that's louder than any chopper. So I just don't think it's as disruptive as maybe people think. And I'm not saying any fears or concerns are completely unwarranted. I get it, right? And when it's phrased, persuasively to say, oh, they're constructing this helipad, right? Your mind can go towards some big platform like an oil rig, and there's big lights on it, and then there's we might spray paint an H, on the ground over there. Maybe it can be done with cones. It's actually going to be, I think, a lot less of a big deal. And that was the whole point of coming out and doing this, right? We're not even saying, here's the thing, take it or leave it, and here's the thing, let's vote. This was our opportunity just to get out ahead and understand what are the concerns, and then also equally importantly have the actual experts come here and say okay, here's what it is, here's what it looks like, And maybe that doesn't make everyone 100% comfortable, but I think everyone understands it a little bit better, and it's not this big commercial helicopter operation. So, and then just my last point is just Aaron, right? I'm glad he was able to send a video at least. Like, the dealership was in my family for 43 years, right? So we're not just selling it to someone who's a jerk or not a good guy, right? Like, if you're selling a Ferrari dealership, you have a choice of who it ends up in, and it's truly another family operation. We know Harold, Aaron's father. I work with Aaron's son, Avery, right? Like, they're a really good family, and they're from a small town in Michigan that's not too dissimilar to here. So they understand it, and it's not some big, corporation coming in and just changing everything. So I just wanted to be available for any questions or comments or anything like that. Feel free to let me know anything, or Ryan, or any of the actual experts. Thank you.
Okay, well, do you want to go to public comment and ask them if they want to?
Does anybody in the audience want to comment on this workshop or online? Seeing none, maybe we should.
There's one Zoom user who has raised his hand online, so I'll go ahead.
Oh, there.
Go ahead, sir, you can speak.
Hello, my name is Bruce Grieve. I live at 1301 Knollwood Circle. My wife and I have been here with our children for 26, 27 years. And a couple of questions. Number one is, when I looked at the diagram of the flight path, it looks like it goes directly over Knollwood Country Club, which the way they characterized it, it may suggest it just goes over open property that people aren't attending often, but there are actually 18-plus homes back here. So I know this discussion is Lake Bluff, but the impact is for people who live in Lake Forest, and we are among those families. And the other is, and just the decibel levels for warm up and takeoff. I mean, we're actually in a flight pattern for emergency helicopters that fly over to the Northwestern Hospital property, and they're very noticeable. So we understand it's an emergency use and it's important, but it's very noticeable for the residents here in the Knollwood Country Club area. So those are my questions.
Okay, should I go on to the next person who wants to speak online?
Yes.
Okay.
What?
Go ahead, Guida Griffins. I think I've given you ability to speak there.
Thank you so much. It's Gita Griffiths, and I'm a Lake Forest resident, but quite close to the other speaker, somewhat adjacent to Knollwood. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize. Okay. So
They did hear us.
some of the questions that I put in the chat have been addressed, but I had another question. Obviously, anytime an exception is made, it sets precedent for future exceptions. I just wonder if an exception for convenience doesn't open the door for, any sort of wealthy landowner that has adequate space to just start applying for these. Obviously we all recognize that Lake Forest Hospital has a sort of life-saving urgent use. So I just wonder if we're considering what an exception for kind of executive convenience would mean for all the other executives who live nearby. And my second question is, has anything been analyzed with respect to the, kind of safety record, nationally for this type of vehicle? It seems like we should know, how the flight could impact, or, how it could affect the emergency flights that are, in the adjacent airspace. I am not an expert to know whether air traffic control is involved, but putting more things in the air where there are emergency flights seems a concern to me. And also just the kind of emergency landings annually and sort of crashes. I certainly took note of the twin engine aspect, which I'm sure is better than one, but I think some statistics need to be generated related to safety, and any kind of report would be welcomed. Thank you.
Thank you. Should we hear from everybody first and then go back to the applicant for answers to that? Okay. Yep, go ahead and come on up to the podium and give us your name and speak.
Hi, I'm Mike Pasquazi. My family owns and operates Pasquazi Home and Gardens at 975 North Shore Drive. Our biggest concern with this is really, it's about the community, really. I think just recently, it's about noise pollution, and just recently, the city banned gas-powered leaf blowers. So my question is really, what kind of precedents are we setting here? And if we allow one to do it, what about the next person that comes in? And I really think that the business park, it's just too densely populated. There's if you look at other sites, like the video that they showed us, there were it looked to me like there were very few buildings around, and I just think the park it's too densely populated. I think it's going to have an impact on other businesses, particularly the tennis court. I think they run camps in the summer back there, and I just don't think we want that back there. So, thank you.
My name's Pete Jemian. I own a house at 323 Birkdale in the West Terrace. I'm also here on behalf of my mother-in-law who lives at 921 Gage Lane in Lake Forest, which is just a few blocks south of this. And I second the idea of precedent setting. This is the next step in air traffic in the neighborhood. We already have emergency air traffic for the hospital, and we can understand that's a useful thing. We also recognize the hospital has been growing significantly since 20 years ago. So this is another step in the industrialization of an area that has both light industry and residential around it. I enjoyed the presentation. I appreciate the level of detail. It addressed many concerns, and yet this is another step. So I wish you to consider carefully the idea of precedent. Where do we draw the line? Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to comment? If not, anybody else online?
I don't see anyone else raising their hand online.
Should we have the members of the committee voice their opinions and ask questions? Aaron, want to start?
Sure. So whenever we're in a workshop considering a potential special use, there are things that we have to weigh as a commission, right? We have property rights of the individual or the business versus the negative impact to the surrounding community. We have the public good versus the risk that might present. And then we also have the maintenance of the community feeling that we have become accustomed to versus sometimes accommodating requests from businesses. And oftentimes those two things are in direct conflict, right? So in this case, we've got noise, we've got potential risk of crash. I know you said it's moot, but I'm sure there is history of a 2-engine helicopter crashing. So the risk is not zero. And then precedent. So precedent, I think, we do look at each individual, we look at each thing individually. So yes, there is the precedent of making a decision to allow something like this, but at the same time, we do reserve the right to say no on anything. So I have to ask, what is the good, what is the benefit to the community that this project would bring that would outweigh the noise and the potential for a crash? And I haven't heard that yet. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist, I just have not heard that. So I understand that it would be very limited use, and the fact that you're saying it's going to be very limited use means that you understand that it is something that the community would object to, right? So I appreciate that it's limited use, but at the same time, I think any use in that particular spot is inappropriate. I do have a question. In the packet, it mentioned the AbbVie helipad. Have you guys contacted AbbVie at all to potentially use that? I mean, that's a 5-minute drive from your facility, so.
Yes, village administrator has been trying to contact them.
Okay.
To see, because he had some ways in, so he's
Yeah.
been working on that.
So that would be,
All options.
yeah, that would be my suggestion, and I think your first choice. That location is much more appropriate. It's in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't have buildings within, basically 20, 30 feet of your landing pad. There's multiple healthcare facilities right around there, just across the street, including a pediatric therapy center, right? I mean, I can't imagine having a kid doing therapy across the street from your helipad and then that therapy session being completely disrupted by even 1 or 2 of your landings and takeoffs per month. So in my mind, I just think that's an inappropriate place for this kind of use.
I pretty much agree with everything that Aaron has said. Very, very well said. I called Mr. Fennell with IDOT today, and amazingly, an IDOT official actually called me back within an hour. So Drew, there is hope when we're dealing with IDOT. I was very impressed. But he did clarify for me that their office is only concerned with the dynamics of getting the helicopter in and out of the site. I thought the letter that you sent to the neighbors was a little misleading in that, it indicates that IDOT, you're ensuring compliance with all noise standards. IDOT, Mr. Fennell doesn't know whether the building right next door has a daycare center in it or is it a concrete mixing plant. And he said that's what the village is about. He said, they won't take this 1 inch further if the municipality doesn't approve it. So we really are very instrumental in controlling this, because you've already indicated it doesn't take very much room at all for IDOT to allow a helicopter to land. In fact, when I saw this, I was just amazed at how little space they require in order to set a helicopter down. There are cars parked to the south there. I'm assuming another dealership or someone, I'm not even sure if they have an approved use to do that, is storing cars in the back lot, Mercedes and BMWs that I'm sure from the picture I saw, the roto wash, if you land on that pad back there, you're definitely within 50 feet of all those high-end automobiles that are parked there. And there's going to be little stones and everything blown up on those automobiles. There is definitely, I talked to the tennis club, the property owner to the west. They absolutely run a summer camp all summer long with children in the back field there. There's no fences, no barriers. And you're going to be landing a helicopter within literally 75 feet of where children are sitting at picnic tables having lunch. I'm very, very concerned about the proposal, very concerned. If the majority speaks and it sounds like we want to move forward, I know I would be very interested in receiving information on other similar nearby situations where communities have allowed the use of a helicopter landing pad in this type of dense environment. I absolutely want to see that. So I think that's really all I had for now.
Member Fisher.
Well, first off, thank you for your investment in the community. That goes, I think, unspoken a little bit, but we're very happy that you continued the relationship that has been here for a long time, and I think that's all marvelous. I think very much what they are saying is, similar to what I'm thinking. Noise, not only do we ban leaf blowers here, we ban pickleball, we ban, and all of those required decibel studies and everything. So there's a lot of sensitivity to noise, even if it's a short-term thing, I think. Safety, to George's point, I think they are very intent on, I was struck by the fact that they call it a restricted landing area heliport facility. you know, it does sound like it shoehorns into a tight space, and that does set up, you know, to me, kind of safety questions, all of the things that George just mentioned about the other things that go on in that neighborhood. The hospital obviously has one. We understand that's a very good use for people who require that. This is more of a personal use, and I do get concerned about precedent here, and the next person who has a personal use as well, how do we get around, you know, how do we not have to sort of respond if we give to one? I think the idea of AbbVie, same thing. I was thinking, can we help you find another spot that is more appropriate, and AbbVie being one of them, certainly. Proximity to Waukegan Airport, I was thinking that maybe it is too far for you, but we can maybe help find something along 41, or if AbbVie is not an option, or something where maybe there is some land that would fit. And I guess the other thing that strikes me is you're making a huge investment in the community. I would think the goodwill of the community is paramount to helping you grow your business. And it does seem like there's going to be a lot of objection to this if you do it where you're thinking right now. And it just seems to kind of defeat one of the purposes, or a major purpose of your business. So those are just kind of the thoughts that I have. So I would not be in favor of it the way it's being presented, but I'd love to help you, you know, as a community, help you find an alternative location that's suitable for your needs.
Member Danley? Member Danley?
Oh, gosh, I don't know if I can add anything that's been said already. The first thing before, you know, presentation was very interesting. I learned a lot about helicopters and the landing and the vertical aspect of it, but there is still the process of going through neighborhoods that are very evident and surrounded by the L1 district. Sound has always been a big issue. I'm not going to repeat what all of them have said, but we've had studies with the pickleball and experts coming in to really talk about how sound travels. And as lovely as those videos were, we were really just looking at the impact of a little bit of the wind and landing, but not the sound. And I think that for all of us is a large concern. I love what you said about we're here to help and assist, and there are other places that are better suited for your needs, and I hope you can find it. But I would definitely be opposed to this and where we're at.
Member Barry?
Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. It was interesting. I don't have a lot to add. I thought everybody raised a lot of really good issues. I'm a research, I have a science background. I'm an engineer. I sat on the school board for a lot of years, so I was faced with issues having to do with sound on multiple occasions where we had to do a lot of scientific investigation, where we brought in experts to show us how loud this was going to be at how far away. And if you decide to pursue this further, me personally would find it very helpful to learn more about how sound travels and from your specific vehicle in the routes you're talking about flying in and out of, from stationary positions, how far out that sound goes. I think it's very important that even though this is in the Lake Bluff boundaries, that we be very good neighbors to our Lake Forest neighbors and our Knollwood neighbors. We have Lake Forest, a neighborhood just to the south. We have that Knollwood Country Club neighborhood just to the west. We have Knollwood unincorporated just to the north. I think we really need to be respectful of them and their needs as well. I love George's idea about I call them case studies about examples of how this has worked in other perhaps similarly demographic communities in Lake County perhaps, or elsewhere, because this is so new to us, we have nothing to make informed decisions on, and I'm all about not somebody said something about making a mountain out of a molehill. I'm not playing anything down, but unless we have some real facts to work off of, it's very hard to make decisions based on anything other than, this doesn't feel right to me. You know, that's probably not fair to you guys. I would also suggest bringing video next time with real audio on it. You know, that was a glaring miss for me, that trying to hide something. So show me what that helicopter sounds like coming in and out from exactly where you're talking about, and I'll listen. But I think there's a lot to consider. People in the community are very worried about noise, so you need to really, really address that. I suggest addressing it with a sound study somehow. That's all I got.
I concur with the members of the board. I have a question to give to the board. Would it make any difference if they chose the dealership site other than the noise proposals? Would anybody's mind change if the noise proposals were within a reasonable level, which I doubt, but if they were, would it change anybody's opinion if they landed at the dealership and not where we were shown?
Wouldn't move the needle much for me. It would only make me less, I guess my objection would only be minusculely less, only because if it does crash, it would crash into their own building instead of other buildings. But I think the noise is the big
The noise
thing.
is the big issue.
Yeah. I think that's a non-starter.
Right, and I think that would still impact Knollwood. You know, so you're certainly closer to Knollwood Country Club, and you're still near Knollwood unincorporated and the same neighbors, or close enough.
Okay. I just want to clarify the Zoom user. The flight path didn't take them over to Knollwood Country Club. The noise would generate, but the flight path was going east, not west, according to the proposal.
It was over Lake Bluff
Yeah,
Golf
the
Course.
concourse, yeah.
I think the Zoom user was referring to the emergency path, correct? You had the two paths, 180 degrees roughly separating each other.
Oh, you
I
mean
think- Yeah, I think the
Possibly.
one path was directly over the Knollwood neighborhood, Knollwood Country Club neighborhood, sorry.
So I presume that at this stage, this is a non-starter for us. If you want to come back with additional information, we'd certainly be happy to listen to it.
Can I answer a couple of questions?
Of course.
First of all, thank you for your thoughtful consideration of this, and thank the members of the public for your comments. Relative to the exceptions for noise, I did review your noise ordinance in the zoning code, and in this district, the light industry district, it allows up to 75 decibels. This is one of the most quiet helicopters out there. I don't have the exact decibel level, but I don't think it's much beyond that. But one important part of that code, I think you should know about, it says that objectionable intermittent sounds should be controlled so as not to create a nuisance. This is exactly what this would be, an intermittent sound. We're talking about 6 minutes a month. And I understand about noise. I get it. I've read a lot of noise ordinances. I've written noise ordinances. You cannot have a quiet community. It's impossible. There are construction noises out there all day long. You have hour limitations on when construction can be done, but you cannot expect perfect quiet out there. And we're talking about 6 minutes a month. So that is not nuisance noise at all. And when you hear, if we do go forward with this, the noise study and the type of helicopter this is, I think you're going to all realize this isn't the noise. It's not a rock concert for 6 minutes a month. It's pretty close to what you allow for in that light industry district. Regarding precedent, I understand that argument. It's the floodgate argument. If we allow this, then what? The precedent here is so limited because Ziegler is offering to restrict the special use extensively, 2 times a month, restrict the hours. The precedent here, you're not opening the floodgates for helicopter pads to be put all over the place. This is a very, very limited operation. So I'd ask you to really think about the precedent and the idea that we're somehow creating a noise exception to your ordinance. I don't think you are. And when you have a restriction of 72 decibels, 75 decibels in your light industry district, that's designed to address activities that go on throughout the day, throughout the night, an operation that creates that type of noise in the area, that creates a nuisance. not prohibit intermittent sounds that might occur over the course of 6 minutes. It's just an impossible standard to try to reach. So I just really wanted you to think about those things too. Thank you again for your time tonight.
If you want to proceed with this going forward.
Yes.
I would suggest you set up a demonstration,
Sure.
a live demonstration. Let us see for ourselves
Be happy to do that. I'll talk to the client,
if we decide to proceed.
see what they want to do. But thank you again.
In the meantime, I would also encourage to look for alternate sites.
Yeah, no, we understand.
We want to help, it's just,
No, I do, but I just want to try to shoot down some of the, I think, misconceptions that you have right now. Yep, thank you.
Any other comments concerning the current discussion? Okay, so should I swear people in?
Yeah.
Okay, is anybody in the audience going to be commenting today on the rest of the agenda? If so, we need you to stand, and I need to swear you in.
Both applicants and neighbors, anyone at all for the rest of the agenda, will
Who's going to be
swear them in.
Who's going to be talking, speaking at the podium? Okay. Raise your right hand. I'll wait till they leave.
Yep.
It was interesting.
Yeah, look.
I thought it was really interesting.
Okay.
Very well summarized.
Please raise,
Seriously.
please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you will provide is truthful and complete? Yes. Yeah, this is trustful. It should be
Yeah,
truthful.
oh, okay. Oh, well, okay.
You may sit down.
Okay, so the first item is a setback variation for an addition at 300 East Blodgett. I'll just do a brief introduction here. So the request is to encroach 6 feet into a 50-foot setback along the south side of the lot, and this is in the E1 zoning district. So this is in a lot in depth in a subdivision that was approved in 2007, and the south side of this lot borders the rear of the front lot of the lot in depth, which means this gets the front yard setback amount for that zoning district, which is the 50-foot setback. So the 6-foot encroachment into it for the addition is a minor variation, meaning we have the ability to make the final decision on that. And with that, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening. My name is Jen Hens. I'm with BBA Architects in Chicago. We're the architects for the project at 300 East Blodgett. Our clients purchased the home last year and hired us to design a series of additions and renovations to the home for their family. The conditions that exist on the site, the existing home that stands, which remains, is located relatively deep into the site. It is in the southwest portion of the 6-acre or almost 6-acre lot, which leaves some limited area of development to the south and the west of the existing home. During our design explorations, we met with staff because one of their wishes was to add a swimming pool to the property. Swimming pool can't be located in our front yard, which is deemed our south and to the east of the home. So through design discussions, locating that pool ended up in our buildable area to the west of the home. Some other improvements that were desired for this family were a master suite, a primary suite on their first floor living space, which this home didn't have, an attached garage, and a sunroom that would be adjacent to that pool. We explored several design opportunities, different placements of both the primary suite, sunroom, garages. We explored detached garages that might exist on this site. In the end, for drainage, existing site utilities, discussions with our landscape architect, it was deemed the pool located to the west, keeping our attached garage structure and the primary suite to the north to limit disturbance to the driveway, existing landscape features. There's a series of crab trees that exist on the property that have been there for years, and trying to maintain much of our east portion of landscape native plants that have been there since the original homeowners, and of course, our extensive prairie to the east. It landed our sunroom addition with the best possible natural light and adjacency in plan to the south. The request of the reduction to that side yard is to enable a golf simulator having enough depth inside the livable space to function. Less than that didn't have a desirable depth for that space. Our clients have met with the neighbors to the south and discussed this opportunity, discussed privacy screening that was already in place in our landscape plan to help buffer both their new home from our addition and the swimming pool, of course, and to offer them both a substantial amount of privacy. We included a letter of support from that neighbor, and they're in favor of the reduction and see no issue there. Any questions for us?
Member Barry?
Yeah, brief question. Did you consider the sunroom and basement area expand to achieve the same square footage by expanding a couple feet east and west rather than going south?
We did. It made for some complex joinery. There's an existing covered porch that's to the west of the home. Roof lines and drainage over there got a bit complicated. We did look at that. We looked at a wider body. We looked, at a different proportion to that room, and it proved to be a challenging construction detail.
Okay, thanks.
Just make one comment. This is a unique portion of the village in that there truly is only one neighbor that's affected by this.
True.
And so it is a very minor variation, and the fact that the one neighbor who's affected is in support of the project, I've got no objection.
Thank you.
Member Danley?
No, I concur. I think it's always nice when somebody explains all the other scenarios that you went through, and just happened to be after talking to all the other trades that are involved, as well as the goals of the homeowner. So I have no objection. I think it makes perfect sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's a small request. Certainly, on a 6-acre parcel, you could certainly have a much huger house. Granted, you were limited by where the current house started.
Sure.
But I think, compared to how much else could be built there, this is a very small request. I think it's great that they approached the neighbor and that the neighbor is in agreement with everything, has no issues with that. And so I don't have any objections. I think it's a great addition.
Thank you.
Member Russell?
Yeah, I don't have any objections, other than the fact that I'm sorry that the slide had to go that was in the house. They had a slide that went from the top to the bottom.
There was a slide. Right. It went from the family room down to the basement, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
But really, the setbacks are somewhat affected by the quirkiness of the layout and the fact that this is a flag lot in the back.
Right.
The neighbor to the south sharing the same lot line, who fortunately supports it, they can build a lot closer to the very same lot line than your client can.
Yes.
This addition is not going to come even that close, so it's really very, very minor for the size of the property and the impact on the one neighbor. So I'm going to vote in favor.
Thank you.
And
I've
I have
got
nothing,
more, so
I have
went out
nothing
of
to
order.
add. I'm sorry?
Apologies, I went out of order. I didn't realize we were.
I said to
going
you
over.
first.
Okay.
I give you the option. I have nothing to add, and I too agree that this should go forward. So we can do a vote?
Yep. Well, someone has to make a motion first.
All right. Somebody making a motion to accept the plan as is?
I move to approve the requested relief in the form of the attached proposal.
Second.
Okay, I'll do the roll call vote. Member Barry?
Yes.
Member Danley?
Aye.
Member Fisher?
Yes.
Member Russell?
Aye.
Member Toll?
Aye.
Yeah, okay. Motion passes. It's approved.
I gotta wait.
Thank you.
It's all new to me. Still thinking about health.
Okay, so. I'll do a brief introduction for the next item, the 305 East Prospect Avenue. The existing house is currently non-conforming with 38 square feet over the FAR limit. The applicants are proposing a 153 square foot addition. So it'll be a total of 191 square feet over the limit, which puts it in the minor variation category. It's 5.4%. It's compared to up to 25% allowed for minor variations. So the board has the ability to make a final decision on it. And the applicants have 12 letters of support from the neighbors in their packet. And with that, I'll turn it over to Rob Douglas and the applicants.
Hello, I just want to introduce myself. I'm JJ Parker, and this is Morgan, my wife. I grew up directly next door to the house that we live in now, and we moved back 5 years ago when we had one child. Now we have 3 kids, and we wanted to move back to Lake Bluff. It's the best place to raise a family, so we've loved it. But with 3 kids, there's some tight pockets in the house, which I think you, Rob, might explain in the plans. And this addition would allow us to have a little more space to store some of our kids' stuff and move throughout the house. So, but yeah, we really appreciate your attention to this issue and Rob's help. But we've again, we love living in Lake Bluff and where we live and being next to my family. So we hope to make it work living in the house at 305 Prospect.
I got it here. And my name is Rob Douglas, architect here locally in town and live here in town. I don't know if maybe the site plan, we can show you where these 2 small additions are being contemplated. At least I'll describe maybe the back hall area. Right now, it is a complete traffic jam of access from the garage into the back hall with 3 kids and a very small space. It is really a congested location. I think we can probably move maybe 3 slides. Well, that's the survey. Then the next one. Okay, there's the site plan, or kind of hard to see it. But you can see there are 2 locations. The southwest corner, we have, well, let's go to the floor plan, because this is a little difficult to read. That's existing condition. You can see a very tight back hall there coming off the garage where the 3 lockers are for the children and the only first floor bathroom. Circulation-wise, it is really jammed in there. So the next slide here shows you the 2 additions. On the left side, enlarging the mudroom and adding a closet that they don't currently have. It'll also expand for the kitchen for a pantry area. That's 111 square feet. Addition B is 42 square feet of addition. Currently, that dining room is 13 feet in the east-west direction and under 9, or just around 9 feet in width. My experience has been with a dining room table, people sitting at it on both sides, you need it's nice to have it up to 12 feet, so you can then circulate around the table while people are sitting there. At this juncture with a 9-foot wide dining room table, it's not possible to function that way. So we have 42 square feet that are being added on to the existing dining room. So all this is on the south side of the building. It's not visible from Glen or Prospect Avenues. Their father-in-law live directly to the south, so a good neighbor there for sure. But you could see from the letters of support, everybody on Prospect in that vicinity is very supportive of what the Parkers are wishing to do here. So if you have any questions, we can try to address them. Member Danley? Any questions?
Oh, gosh. Makes a lot of sense. When you have a home that you purchased and now you're growing into it and you have the family. I mean, we are here to think about hardship and seeking variance. And if this is something that, I don't want to say the word necessary, but, you know, you are asking for an additional square footage. So I see your hardship in the lifestyle and the circulation of the home. I do appreciate that there's no impact to the neighbors, and the neighbors have been positive in your addition. It's not a large addition, but it is, you know, something that comes in front of us. I don't have any objections because I think it's a small ask and a large hardship for a growing family, but it's still 111 square feet, an additional 42. I was looking at it trying to think, could you make it, you could have gone larger, and you didn't. You could perhaps gone smaller, but again, I think with the circulation, you wouldn't have gained what you're seeking. So I don't have any objections to it at all.
To me, it is a minor request for a variation. I think the fact that you're not touching the front facade, you're in the rear facade with both of the additions, I think that's certainly positive, and I really appreciate the fact that you went above and beyond to get the neighbors, you know, input and everything, because frankly, that's, to me, one of the things that's hugely important, because it's usually the neighbors that are the most impacted by, you know, decisions that we make, and sometimes we're really trying to guess what the neighbors think. So I appreciate the fact that you went to that many neighbors and got their, you know, positive input and stuff. So I am in favor of it.
Yeah, I'm very, very pleased that you didn't get greedy. You have these two small footprints on the first floor that both address needs. One, so you can all sit around your growing family in the dining room, comfortably around the table, and then the mudroom entrance. A lot of builders, I think, or architects would have said, well, let's go up and do the second floor also. And you didn't, you resisted that temptation. And I'm pleased, because we always do get concerned when the FAR, the total floor area, gets above what's allowed. But literally, except for JJ, your parents, no one's going to notice that these two additions are occurring. They don't expand to the south at all. They're lower than even the little sunroom, the breakfast room there. The roof line is even lower, so it's a very, very modest addition. The only question I do have is, what is the plan for the big oak tree behind the dining room? I'm figuring you're going to have a trench probably 6 feet off of the 36 or 42-inch diameter tree. I don't know exactly what size it is, but it's a nice tree.
We are very conscious about that tree. We have two alternatives that I need to explore more from a structural standpoint. But we have a 3-foot projection coming out off of the face of the existing building. There is the possibility of cantilevering. You know, the ratio is 1 to 3. So for 3 feet out, we've got to be at least 9 feet back into the floor plate of the first floor. We could possibly try to cantilever it, but I need a structural engineer to take a look at that. The second option I can think of to minimize impact on that tree is to, on the southeast corner, the outside corner on the southeast, we'd have one concrete pier and then do a grade beam, but to try to minimize any disruption of those roots. that oak is old and it's right up against the house. And yes, we're highly aware of the sensitivity of that tree. We were suggesting too that before any work is done, we need to get a tree expert out there to feed the tree, get it prepared so it can handle any shock that it might take, but the Parkers do not want to lose that tree. So we can't do a conventional trench in there. Frost depth anyway, you're going to be running into too many roots. And I do know when you get tight to the tree roots, if you do run into a root, you got to make a nice clean cut of it, and so it doesn't get infected. So it's we're very aware of it, and we're going to do everything we can to try to preserve it.
Morgan did meet with the Rivas Tree Company just last week.
They were out servicing the tree and taking some of the weight off of it for us, and I mentioned that we were looking into those two options, and he was happy with those two choices and trying to preserve the tree.
Okay.
So he said he'd be happy, to come out and feed it and help us try to keep it.
Member Tom?
I mean, the only thing that I'll add, that this is a corner lot, which does often get a little bit goofy for us to deal with. In this case, it's already slightly over, but I think your proposal, not only does it address some true needs to modernize an older house, but it also actually improves the aesthetics based on the elevations. So no objection here.
I too agree with the members, and I think you've done a very nice job to preserve what's there and improve your living space, which certainly I can understand, having gone through 2 additions. And I have no objections as well. Somebody want to make a motion to accept the plan as is with doing the best I can preserving the tree?
I move to approve the requested relief in the form of the attached approval order.
Second.
Okay, we'll do the roll call vote. Member Toll.
Aye.
Member Russell.
Aye.
Member Fisher.
Aye.
Member Danley.
Aye.
Member Berry.
Yes.
And Chair Miller. Okay, the motion passes. It's approved.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
These 2 are easy.
Yeah, right. Well, I have nothing for a staff report.
What does next month look like so far?
I think 2 items so far, so nothing crazy. Nothing big. Well,
Depends
yeah,
what 2
right,
items they
exactly.
are.
Of course, we haven't seen the submission deadline yet, so we could get more, yeah.
And nothing with Stonebridge?
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay. Anybody have any commissioners report? Anybody have any concerns or questions?
I do have a question, Mike, and maybe you don't know the answer. With all of the wonderful material that the village attorney sent to us over the last month on the Build Illinois initiative, and how worrisome it may be that the state of Illinois could control a lot of our zoning, I'm hoping that the village board is going to take a proactive stance through the Illinois Municipal League or elected representatives to try and ferret out some reasonable regulations and be proactive rather than having something adopted by our state legislature this season, and then on January 1st, we lose a lot of our zoning control. I mean, some of these proposed changes are
Major.
just unbelievable. I mean, you could have 6-unit condos on almost every corner lot in the village with no requirement for any parking. It's just,
It's unbelievable.
it's unbelievable how extreme the proposal is. It makes Elon Musk look like he didn't try to do anything in Washington his first month that he was there. So I'm hoping, do you know, as the village board engaged in discussions on?
Talk to our attorney.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Drew about that.
Okay.
We can report back to you next month. But I do know organizations like the Municipal League and even organizations of building officials and all that are all commenting on this against these proposals.
Against it?
Yeah, I'm sure the state's getting a lot of comments.
Can we, as a board, encourage the village board to address this officially? Can we
Like, could you make a
make
recommendation?
a recommendation to the village board to be proactive on this? Even if it's,
I'm not sure if it's formally within our purview, but I'm sure we can at least certainly mention it to
Bring up
Drew
the-
and
bring it
relay
up,
it
yeah.
informally.
So what's your opinion about this whole thing?
Well, I don't have opinions, I just know what the proposal is. But no, like you said, it would be pretty revolutionary if it were approved as it's been proposed. I know we as a firm, which I think you guys probably all received, we are all very aware of the different impacts on zoning codes. And it was significant enough that almost every single person in our firm contributed to one portion, or writing an article about one portion of that act. So we're all very aware of it. What's the number one thing probably that we're talking about with all the municipalities you represent? I think it's come up in every meeting I've been to since it was announced. And there's been a conversation about it. It's not just been a casual mention. We've talked about it at almost every meeting I've been to in the last month. So there's still a lot of time left. Session doesn't end until May 31st. So we'll just kind of have to.
Did this come out of Chicago?
The,
so.
it was, the legislator that introduced it did come out of Chicago. I think, I want to say the south side somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know exactly. I mean, it was big, it was a big piece of the governor's State of the State address. So, I mean, it's being encouraged at other levels as well, it sounds like, so.
And from everything I've heard, home rule doesn't do
Yep.
anything, right?
Yep, it would preempt home rule.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Which is a lot.
Did I hear?
Very severe.
Did I hear you say that you guys were sent something about this?
We, our firm did a series, I think it was a 7-part
You're
series.
probably not in there.
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
make
like-
sure you get it.
I'd like to get that.
Maybe I can send you the whole packet of it and
Okay,
you
sure.
can circulate it.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
We've
Yep.
got it all in one package, so make sure you guys get a copy of that. And it breaks down, the first one's just an introduction to the legislation, and then the 6 following articles each tackle a different element of it. So it was a pretty comprehensive effort on our part,
That was
but
very
that
helpful,
matches
yeah.
how
Yes, please,
significant we feel it, that it
please
is.
relay to your compadres how appreciated it was.
I will do that.
It was a very, very nice write-up on all of the issues.
Thank you.
They sent out emails like every 2 days for over a 2-week
Mm-hmm.
period on all the major components of this proposal, Mark.
It's a big bill.
Yeah, it was big.
But, yeah, I know, I can we all agree that we even informally urge the village board to get proactively engaged in researching the impacts of this?
I would think they would be
Rather than
anyway.
just sitting around and hoping that that the Illinois Municipal League is going to take care of it for us?
Sure, I'll mention that to Drew.
Does everyone agree that you
Yes.
can say the whole board agrees that the village board needs to
Unanimous.
proactively engage, even if it's just calling our state representatives and
So
saying,
we
hey,
just voted for. Be voted. Impeach them.
Yep, good idea.
Mike, one question that I had over the past few days is the potential long delays on 176. Do you happen to know the timeline of that project and the disruption that will cause?
I think their work is gonna stay outside of rush hour, so I think it's gonna start like 9 AM to 4 AM or something like that. The village engineer has been monitoring that more than me, but that's an IDOT project, they gotta get a pipe into the river, and I'm not sure how long it's gonna take. I was personally just glad it was outside my commuting hours, or in the middle of my commuting hours, but not affecting them, so.
Okay.
but they are advertising lane closures. So
Yeah, usually you don't see
if
them.
176 goes to one lane from 9 to 4,
Yeah.
You can bet by 4:30 it's not going to be cleared up
Yeah,
each day.
yeah.
Well, and the impact on the schools has got to be really a pain, too. The school buses?
Afternoon, yeah.
Yeah.
So moral of the story is avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's getting hard to go anywhere with Waukegan.
But you can't go
and-
down Green Bay, because that's going to start.
Yeah, when is that?
Exactly.
We need helicopters.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but that is the summer, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Right.
I think even before
Yeah.
then.
Well, I'm thinking e-bike on the bike trail. That's the
There
way.
you go.
Well, there won't be a bike trail down there for 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, they have the detour route on that.
Well,
They have a
they-
little
it's-
thing
yeah,
off the
there'll be a little
side.
gravel,
They poured that
yeah,
concrete
there'll be a
pad.
little-
That was the first thing they did.
There'll be a little,
Yeah.
And we got the training coming up, which I'm probably the only one taking, but there's that training that you signed me up for.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. You and George are both doing that, yep. Yep, great. That's great that you're doing that.
Is there anything else, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Good job, Elliot.
Wait,
Snappy meeting.
I've been waiting to do that.